All right, what's good? This is the Heavyweight Podcast, episode 21. I am Stutter McFly with three guys. Go ahead and announce yourselves.
I'm Kevin Wendell. Media, I mean.
Nigga, that ain't it, but it's more lethal.
Keith, aka Geek 40.
That's right. That's right. So, how were your weeks this week? How'd it go down for you guys?
Mine was back into work mode, so that's good. I mean, for me, no incidents is a beautiful thing. So a quiet week is a good week at work.
Were you hard to find?
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody showed him the video because homeboy don't hardly talk to me. Somebody, hey, you know he's talking about you, right? Like, damn, well, fuck it. If it worked out, it worked out. I'm doing my job. Leave me alone. Let me do it.
Hard to find.
That's what's up. Nothing exciting. Grind mode. Put them hours in. Cut some people out. Yeah, that's it. Pretty blah.
Can I
Blah, blah.
one more? I'm sorry. I did have
What?
a new cousin, so
Congratulations.
cheers to that. That's always a beautiful thing.
A new cousin, like somebody get birth like a baby.
Yeah, a new baby.
That's what's up. Congratulations.
Thank
Are you like is your family like where like even though you're older you're like the uncle cousin or you just cousin?
It's all a
All the mix.
whirlwind. Like
Okay,
sometimes
for
it's
sure.
like, yeah, sometimes no, that's KJ. I'm just KJ. That's what they gonna call me.
Okay. All right.
Mr.
T?
40.
I mean, pretty much the same as last week, other than I found myself getting sick. So worse, I guess.
I think that is going around.
Yeah.
That ailment.
So, I know it's nothing serious because I'm going through all the symptoms in a few hours. So, probably by tomorrow, I'll start feeling better. I don't work until Sunday, so see how it goes. I'm still gonna get tested though.
Shit, you got to now, I think.
Man, it ain't nothing a hot toddy and some casserole can't fix.
Or the neti pot.
And then if I clear your sciences right on up. What's up, McFly? Your week, sir?
Work and more work. I just grinded until I got to Friday, and then, I chose to do a 4-day week and enjoy some movies today. So I've been watching movies all day.
What's up?
That Shang-Chi
What's
movie
that
was
one?
fire. That Marvel movie?
The 10 Rings, right?
Ten Rings, yeah.
You're saying she's in the 10 Rings? Okay.
Yeah, that was
That's what's
fire.
up.
The Red Notice was pretty good with the Rock
That's
and
right.
Ryan Reynolds
Was it funny?
Yeah, I watched
Funny
that
good
last night.
or like action good?
like it had good action, and it was kind of like a mix, a melting pot of types of movies. It felt at points it felt like you were watching like Indiana Jones, and then like the whole double cross type deal, and then and like James Bond type. Like it's entertaining. Like it kept my interest throughout. I think it's one of the strongest movies that or original movies Netflix has had. So I was rather enjoying watching movies. It's been a while since I just sat and watched movies and look forward to them. I'm really looking forward to Ghostbusters next week. So
Good. That's real good. Did you watch Old
Movies?
by M. Night Shyamalan?
Oh.
no, didn't want to watch it.
Is that the one where they're on the beach?
Yeah, and they just
And
they
they
age.
Yeah.
that shit creepy, man.
I
I've
watch
had this
M.
in real
Night
life.
Shyamalan every fucking time. He gets me every fucking time. I'm always like, I'm gonna give him a chance. This might be the one. And then it's not.
I saw the previews or not previews, reviews in that movie, and it just and like what they were talking about how they age so fast, and then the whole like them deciding,
I mean, it is a different little like twist to it, and I'm like, okay, you did better. He definitely did better. Where you're like, okay, you switched.
Mm.
Have you seen Wayward Pines, the TV show he made?
Hmm.
The show he made, I thought that was actually dope. It's kind of along those lines. I was like,
And
oh, okay, okay.
he said he felt awkward as a reviewer watching the movie because of like how they dealt with puberty. Like they were seriously just this age, and now you're experiencing this and experiencing that. And he's like, watching that, I didn't know how to feel about it. So I thought that was an interesting.
Oh no, there's some shit in there that happened where you're like, damn, that hurts. That one hurt. There's a point in
Yeah,
there where it hurt, where it's like, ugh, I hurt my heart. Why'd you do that? Like I don't know if you guys decide to watch it, you might know what I'm talking about in that part. It's it's something.
I'll
Makes
put it on the list.
it's all right. It's
I'll
not.
put it on the list. I'm gonna watch that. Was it the Netflix one? That's the plan to watch that tonight
Red
after.
Notice.
Yeah, that's the plan to watch that tonight, and then I'm gonna
I
watch
was.
the Marvel one tomorrow with my daughter.
I'll say about Ryan Reynolds is that motherfucker plays Deadpool every time. Like,
He he's been Deadpool since Blade
yeah,
Trinity.
yeah, but like that's what I will say. He'll keep you entertained through the movie because he was
I
talking shit the
think
whole time.
Yeah, he
Deadpool
been
was like his role from the beginning.
Mhm.
You're
right,
like, there's
Wouldn't
no
mind
one
seeing
else.
a
Like, why would we
sequel.
pick anyone else?
right. I mean, but
Oh,
that's hard though, because it's kind of like one of those roles that when he doesn't want to do it anymore, what do you do?
I think the fact that he
Matthew
kind of pretty much,
McConaughey, that shit.
I, I think he's just being himself, and it just he's getting paid to be himself on
Yeah,
screen. Like,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
so it's
so
like,
he's like Billy Bob Thornton then.
yeah, he just
I'm gonna
every.
show up
I
and
mean, because
I'm
every
gonna show
role
up and
I've seen him
cuss.
in, he's playing the ad libbing shit talking guy throughout the movie. So it's like
He's
I
gonna
think
have
he's
to
just
act
playing
one day
himself.
though. He's gonna have to act one day because Billy Bob every once in a while throws some shit in where you're like, oh yeah, he can act. I forgot that motherfucker can act.
Uh,
Matthew
Have you
McConaughey had
seen
to do it. He was like, hey guys, I can act.
Six Underground?
I tried to watch that shit. It
Is
kind
it a
of pissed
show
me off.
or a
It's
movie?
No,
another
it's a
Netflix
movie.
movie.
I think because I think some of the same people made that movie made this one, and I think they learned from it because
Mm.
I see some similarities, and I'm like, okay, I think they took what they did with that movie and actually made some smart moves this time, especially since The Rock is in the movie. You can't really fuck that up. I mean, you could, but
Is he the Rock anymore? Do we call him that?
Wayne on
I think
Dwayne.
he's got to be
That motherfucker
Mr.
gonna he gonna be the Rock till he die. Just like Stone Cold gonna be Stone Cold till he
he
die.
uses it when it's convenient.
So even if he becomes president, they're like, so The Rock is your guys' president?
I won't lie.
President The Rock.
Watching this movie, I think I have to blame Fast and Furious for fucking up some of my stretching of belief because like there were certain parts of this movie and I'm like, nigga, you're The Rock. Like I seen you fucking hold helicopters down and shit, and you can't
Mhm.
fuck this nigga up in the scene. Like, and it made me mad. And I was like, nigga, calm down. This isn't the same movie. Like, but I was like, fuck you, Fast and Furious. You fucked up. I almost walked out of Hobbs and Shaw when that came out. I said, this nigga's holding a helicopter down. Like, what? At what point do we?
It was,
When them
yeah.
Anyway,
when them niggas stole a tank, I was out. I said, I'm
it's
gonna
a,
cut my
it's
EPA.
definitely entertaining though. I will say that it should have kept me entertained. It'll keep you entertained if you like action and shit talking.
Yeah,
Like, there was a whole lot of shit talking.
Yeah. So,
so,
I guess since everyone has told us about their weeks, we'll go ahead and get down to the nitty gritty, shall we? So
Shall we?
we have constant conversations with people, and I pose this question because I noticed there was a difference with the people I talk to. Like if I talk to my accountant or someone else of different races per se, their upbringing was way different than I noticed with the guys that I of my skin color per se. Their upbringing. So like we would talk and it'd be vastly different. So the question I pose to you guys is how were your upbringings? And when we reflect on those, maybe the conversation you possibly have those people as well. Are your upbringings different? And do you notice the clear differences when you've had conversation with people of other races about their coming up and how their parents prepared them per se? how they were just the thought process as far as you being prepared for taking care of your kids and how you go forward as parents or potential parents. What realizations did you have with like maybe the conversations you've had with people?
What
Somebody
do you mean,
like
like
if
it
you've
was like a
had
cultural thing, like people
yeah
being prepared,
culturally
within almost
yeah culturally
financially or just like whatever, like just mentally shit.
because I know
Uh
that the disconnect that we've had is the like I noticed when we had the conversation during pre-production, the meeting or whatever, we noticed that it was a similarity, a common theme of like our parents kind of uh, once
yeah,
you
it's
hit
more
eighteen, it
we
was
said that
more
like the 18 and out, yeah.
yeah. Where you hear other cultures, they embrace till you get on your feet and you're prepared and ready to go out and into the world. They kind of nurture you until you get there and are ready, so
Shit,
you
they
don't end
stay
up in a
together.
yeah. And like you said, Kevin, about the whole grandparents, like raising the grandparents, not like a lot of times you notice now with our race or American at least thought process is just throw them in homes and not like
You
keep that
know,
whole family together.
to be honest, now that I think about it, I never thought about this until this right now, this moment in this fucking conversation. I think that throw them in a home thing is not like even like the throw upon them off. It's almost like a odd flex in this world, like the society we live in, because that's just not cheap. That
That
shit
isn't.
is not cheap. And they're like, oh yeah, my mother's at this place, and you're like, why ain't she at your house? Like she raised you, fool. Get the fuck out of here. But I think it's almost a weird thing where it's a odd flex when it shouldn't be. But I don't know. I think we don't. Do we put our families in homes that often, like black folks?
My mom straight up told me and my sister that she's putting herself in a home when it comes time.
Oh, because they got the facilities.
Mhm.
Don't want to be the burden. That's how we look at it. I know.
Uh, Part of that, yes, and then part of it, I think, just she wants to continue having her independence.
Okay. Yeah. True. 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 Never even looked at it that way
I
too.
see that. Yeah, I see that.
That's
I mean, my mom flat out told me that she plans on rotating. I'm gonna stay with you guys until you're tired of me, and then I'm
Oh,
gonna
shit.
go here until
damn.
you're tired of me. That's her plan. That
So,
has been her plan.
question, Maurice, would that be the flex on her part to say I got my kids that I can go like they're all successful enough that I can
She may say it as
live here and then live like
she may see it as a flex. We see it as you out of your mind. Like we got to agree to this, because it might be a situation where we have to, there's five of us, so we might have to each put in a little bit on top of the SSI check and make sure she's safe somewhere and unbothered. I mean, is she flexing? I mean, come on now, we're not gonna let her be on the street, nothing like that. But I mean, my
more or
mother's a
less
lot to handle.
more or less. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a flex of knowing that her kids
Oh, she got
did
options.
well for themselves.
She
Like
has
yeah,
She
like
got
options. Yeah.
yeah.
so it's like
She says
not like
she said
you guys are struggling and she's like, well, my kids they're good. I can stay with them, and then when I
she
get tired of me, I can jump. Like
yeah she
Yeah.
said all the time. She says all my kids um well despite our upbringing we all turned out pretty well. So she flexes. She brags about us when she
As
had
she
little
should.
to do. Little to do with us being where we
Hey,
are.
fuck it. Fuck it. Without her, you ain't here. I know it sounds
Yeah,
weird, but without her, you ain't here.
yeah. So, yeah,
well,
she does that.
so like what are your like when you hit 18? What happened with you, Kevin? Like, did you
I
did you
was
have
gone. I
a
left on my own.
what I'm
I
saying? Did
straight
you
left.
have a savings set up in your name, a good credit card where your credit was built? So when you were 18, it was
I didn't have all that shit built up, but um, no, they didn't prepare me in that way. They did start as I was in school. They got me a credit card. I didn't know that, unbeknownst to me, which is fine because when I got it to me, I fucked it up because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But they had my credit set up well. But the problem was I had no fucking idea what I was doing. So, yep, run it up, run it up.
What
So
about
they
you, Chief?
tried.
What was that?
So what about you? Was it like when you hit 18? What was like the thought process? Was it like, all right, when you get on your feet, you're good here? Was it, oh, now that you're 18, you need to get a job and pay us rent? Was it, well, whatever situation we got you, or was it get the fuck out and you 18, figure it out? Like,
So my situation was a little different because that was around the time my dad left the home. And so had he still been there, probably it would have been like, okay, you're 18, figure it out, but don't do it here. Actually, I know for a fact that's how that would have went. But because he left, my mom wanted me to stick closer to home, so she let me stay uh, pretty much rent free. Like I'll help out with some bills and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But
That's cool. That's what's up.
yeah, she let me stay home. But
That's
in
what's
terms of planning ahead, in terms of like credit and stuff like that, now my
mhm.
parents were super old school. Stay away from credit cards, blah 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 blah, all that stuff. So I didn't learn all that stuff until much later, and I'm paying for it now. So
Me too, brother.
What
yes,
about you,
sir.
Mo? Mo Lethal?
Um, I was raised by my grandparents, and they only had one rule, man. Like when you turn 18, you didn't have to get out, but you either had to be working or going to school. So you have to be either working, contributing to the household, or you have to be trying to better yourself. So I wasn't forced out. I did have a little bit of money they had saved, put away, but I fucked that over ASAP. Credit was just I didn't have no like credit bill, like that, and but I wasn't kicked out or anything like that. I'm like Kevin. I left on my own, but I left because I wanted to be fucking, and I couldn't
Every
fucking.
time, every time I ask this question or we've had a conversation, he makes sure to reiterate that main point. Pussy
That's
was
funny.
involved, nigga. Pussy was
I
involved.
I
That
wanted
might have seen.
That is
I,
funny.
I was trying to fuck. So and I knew I couldn't do it at home, so I left. And in hindsight, I wish I would just get in the back of cars and stayed home because I would have saved me a lot of headache, a lot of trouble. But I left. I left at 18 because I was like, hey, I'm finna get these bitches. And then I don't
Yeah, you
know.
could have
I said
definitely
that, but
been
then
on the car and
I
I feel
married my
like,
high school
oh,
sweetheart, so
On the
I should have
brighter,
stayed home.
yeah,
well,
that worked out.
also too on the brighter side, as far as getting it in cars, the only, I guess, the silver lining for you is you didn't have to pay for the stains that you might have got in the back of cars that you would have to clean out. So there's a silver
Oh
lining for you. But yeah,
yeah,
I think you should have. Yeah, I think
I should
in
have stayed.
retrospect, yeah, you
I
should
should have
have.
stayed. I should have stayed. Yeah, I definitely should have
Super
stayed.
stressed.
Yeah, so I got
I
like I got no like my only financial advice I ever received from my grandparents was save your money, you know. And then growing up poor and not really dealing with money, or not, I wouldn't say we were poor. We were like lower middle class. Like we did just enough, just well enough so that I wasn't in the hood, but I was around all the white people with shit, and I didn't have the shit they had. I was similar to Dave, and that's like that when Dave said that, I said I relate to that shit like a motherfucker. Like I was good enough to be here, but damn, I didn't have that shit.
He's
So
referring to Dave Chappelle.
yeah, Dave
If the
Chappelle.
people that don't
See,
know
I was
out
like
there.
the opposite on that one because I was spoiled as shit. Like I had all of that shit, and like as I got older, I realized how hard my parents had to work to get that shit, and I was just, I guess, I don't want to say a brat, but fuck it, I was kind of a brat with it because you're just used to having that shit. And like I think when I was, I don't know, 19, something like that, like I realized it because anytime I was just down bad, I would just call and I was like, at some point, I was like, hey, you guys just got to tell me no. Like, just say no.
Well,
Let
see,
me figure this shit out.
see, I said what I said, Kevin, but my situation was similar. And I told you we weren't poor. We did. They were my grandparents. By that time in life, they were doing well. My grandmother she was retired from the post office. My grandfather was a retired school bus driver.
Yeah,
They had the money together. They had houses. That my grandfather
yeah,
had left property. So it wasn't like we were struggling, but it was
yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't have. They were practical people. So the lavish things wasn't a thing. Now, if I asked for something, 9 times out of 10, I would get it.
yeah.
And my wife used to always say, "Man, no matter what, like I was like I had been out the house like 4 or 5 years this time, but like if I got in the bind, I could be like, hey." I need this. Like there was times I would call my grandma, right, and I'd be like, "Hey, mom, if I buy this TV, would you pay me back for it?" And she was like, "Go ahead and get it, Maurice. Just go ahead and get it."
It's like,
So I
what's
mean,
that
I was
shit?
spoiled in ways, but it wasn't like it wasn't like I was the kid at school that had
Had
everything. You know
everything,
what I mean?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I had told Stutter like I didn't get my first pair of like name brand shoes till like middle school, like brand new. I'm the only feet that been in here. I was like middle school. Like I had
Yeah.
Nikes and stuff before, but that was all like Goodwill, yard sale, hand me down type shit. There wasn't brand new
Yeah.
stuff. You know,
We had
so
our ups and downs with that because I do remember I had some $200 Jordans, and then like I look back and like, why'd you motherfuckers buy me that? Those were the worst Jordans there were too. It was those white ones with the fucking strap. Nobody remembers those.
I do remember my grandparents and them and my aunt. They did everything they could to make us be blinded as kids to the actual situation. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like things could have been bad or worse, but we would have never known. It was like a normal day. You know, like I think I had this conversation with Stella. Like we're talking about the difference in like our eating habits growing up, and I told him like, dude, eating out was like a rarity. Like no,
Would you
grandpa,
guys eat at the table all the time, or?
no, like we made homemade meals. Like there
Oh,
was no going down to McDonald's or anything like that. Like the only day we actually ate out was maybe a Sunday because my grandma, they're heavily religious. She wasn't cooking on Sunday, so if we ate out. If there was no leftovers left or was nothing was prepared on Saturday, then we're going out on Sunday. But for the most part, man, it was like we're eating at home. That's what it was. So I mean, we did they for people of our color, they did quite well for themselves from where they came from, but we
yeah.
weren't like definitely wasn't upper middle class, nothing like that.
Can Can I ask you guys like educational background of your parents? Do you
And
guys
my
know,
my grandparents or
or your
my actual
grandparents, the
parents.
people who raised you? I'll say
My grandfather made it to the third grade. My grandmother made it to the fourth grade.
they
My
came out
grandfather
retired
was the
too. That's
oldest.
awesome.
My grandfather was the oldest of 13, and so he had to work. He was basically like man number two in the house.
Wow.
So he didn't, he wasn't allowed
Wow.
to, what I'm saying? He wasn't allowed the time to go to school, and he knew how to read and write, but like he would tell you he started driving at the age of 11.
Mm,
My
okay.
great grandfather was a used to cut down logs, and transport them. So my grandfather was at 11. He was help cutting down logs, stacking logs on trucks, driving trucks like that. At 11,
Backbone of America.
yeah. So and
That's
my
young
grandmother
right
was
now
like,
too, by the way. Thank you. I don't say that. Sorry.
I don't really do that much. Yeah, I appreciate you, but yeah, my grandmother the same way. Um, well, not the oldest, but just in a time where you had to help out. So there's things she had to do. And at that time, education wasn't a priority. You got your basic education in the house, and like I said, I think my grandmother was 17. My grandfather was 16 when they married. So
That's
it
old
was
school.
no, yeah, it wasn't no, and my mom got my birth mother is a proud recipient of a GED
Okay.
because she was wild in high school, and my mom would
Hey,
tell you.
you can never shit on the GED.
My mom would tell you. She said I did everything so my kids wouldn't have to. Cause God damn it, she was out there. My father, I would say he's a high school graduate because he went to the army. But I don't really know too much. I
Think you
don't
can
think he
get
went
in
to
with a
college.
GED too, but
Yeah,
I'm not.
I
You know,
mean, I don't know. I can't. I'm not for sure. I can ask him, but I won't
yeah.
call
You're like, I don't. I People who raised you.
him. What about you, Stud?
Stanley Keith.
Uh, my dad was ended up in the Navy. I know he did a lot of trade school type things, like he was a barber. He went to school for other things, but for the most part, I know he was in the Navy. That was his furthest schooling. And my mom went to school, but
That's my
never,
Trey.
um, uh, never graduated. So, but she majored in psychology and never graduated. Uh, that was the furthest she went in school, and a victim of drugs, and that kind of But it's yeah, they both had good schooling for the most part. They just didn't follow through in the end as far as making a career of it, using it. But
Yeah, I had like a different balance. I had like my mom who went. She recently, well, it wasn't. It was a while ago. She got her master's, but my dad, I think, dropped out in like was it seventh, eighth grade, some shit like that. So it's like a wild difference. It's like, but I don't know. From him, I learned you got to hustle, hard work, go get it. And my mom learned like there's the importance in this. Like there is an importance in the education, and not necessarily like the degree. She's more the degree person. I'm more the knowledge person. Like I picked that up from I guess the balance of that, where it's like, well, I could learn this, and then blend them together and make who I am. And it's like it worked out because that's wild though when you think about it. Like two different people from that far of a different like
Spectrum.
brainwave within
Yeah.
like you know what I mean to come together and then make a family and make it work.
oh, I know it's a common theme. I don't know. Yeah, before I say that, Kevin, did you have an understanding or a basic concept that they teach you how to manage your money?
Like a basic concept of like I should save it.
Yeah, no, like how to save it.
No, it was
Like
just a regular old savings account shit and all that. You know, you should do this, but that's about where it went. But they
the
were still learning. Like that's the thing I learned
yeah,
is they were
yeah.
learning as they were raising us.
That seems to be the common theme is the in our culture. Uh, our we don't have a full grasp because even with my dad, he understood saving, but he didn't understand how to grow that saving or put it into something or invest that. It was just he knew collect change here, collect a little bit here, collect it here, collect it there. But at the end of it all, it didn't really amount to much as far as building towards something. And that's
Yeah,
why I was going to ask the next question is like, uh, did anyone? Because I noticed the common thing was like, yeah, I got savings, but no one, or like most said, like his grandparents told him to save, but did they tell him how to grow that saving, like what to build, invest, etc. Like, so that was my next question. Did anyone really get told how to use that, like how to make savings work for them? Because you can save and then not.
I don't think I learned it well or picked it up because I know I had my grandpa. He was well retired Air Force, and the woman he married after my grandma like gave me a bond when I was like I don't know, five maybe. I don't remember how old I was. I didn't know nothing about that, and they told me like save it and then it'll build up, and then I didn't realize they meant save it till I was like this age, and then cash it because you know I cashed it at like fucking $25. But you know, I guess it was mine. They let me, but they shouldn't have let me. If that
Mm,
makes
Yeah.
sense.
I get what you mean. I mean,
So
I didn't get really any guidance. You know, I I do the same thing my grandfather did because he honed it into me. I just do it a different way. Like um my grandfather was that black man on the block where you would ask him and he would tell you he could have $1 million in his pocket. He'd be like, man, I ain't got nothing. I'm nah, I can't help you. Like no, it's not that I can't help you because he'd help you if you know in a heartbeat. But he'd be like, man, hey, Grant, can I have $20? I ain't got no money, boy. And then you're like, okay, cool, cool, cool. And then you go to the store 2 minutes later, and he pulls out like $1,000 out of one pocket, like that. Was like he was very, very meticulous on what he spent his money on.
yeah,
And that's the one thing I've always said. That's one thing I picked up from because I to this day I'm like, oh man, you got to get no, I'm poor, bro, struggling. Like like that's just the mindset. You like I have the mindset of I'm always struggling. So and then I kind of trick myself so that when I am struggling, it's like okay, well, let me just grind to get out of it. That's just my mindset. I was raised like so. Whether you have 100 or a million, you got to have that. Basically, that's what I took. Whether you got 100 or a million, you have the same mindset. Like I'm not gonna go out here and just throw money to the wind type deal. That was my lessons growing up.
But is that the same for everybody too, though? Like, it's so wild. Like when you think about it, when it comes to money, like it's so many different weird ass ways to make it work,
Yeah.
and I don't know that many of them. Like I'm trying to learn those
Uh,
motherfuckers, but there's so
I
many weird little ways where you're like, how is this motherfucker doing that? And
yeah.
you're like, oh, I did this,
I
this, and that, and then
I
this came to me, and then I did this, this, and that. You're like, what the fuck?
it took me a while to grasp it, but now that I'm in my 30s, if I would have practiced this in my 20s, I'd be way better off. But just
So,
the fact of knowing when and where to spend, you have to be
oh yeah, yeah,
strong. You have to be strong enough to really look at something and say, "Hey, is this a want or is this a need?" You
working.
know. And then if it's just a need, you got to be strong enough to just walk away from it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And only focus on the wants. And if you do that, because I'm not perfect with this, but if you do this 80% of the time, you'll set yourself up pretty well, pretty well.
I wanna point something out. Do you guys notice this beautiful empty space behind me where a telescope was?
Yeah, what happened
That
to
motherfucker went back to Hobby Lobby. I was like, I don't need this motherfucker. I bought this bitch for no goddamn reason. I looked at the
just
moon once.
I don't. Let me ask y'all fellas this because I don't know because I do this. Where I'm at, I talked to Stud about this recently. Where I'm at in life, sometimes I see things and I reflect on my childhood about how certain things I couldn't have. Like I knew I could ask for it and it'd just be too much of a burden I couldn't have. And now I'm to the point in my life where I'm like, nigga, I'm getting that shit. I don't like I don't
I did
care.
that.
I don't care what it cost. Like I struggle with this. Like
Oh,
shit. The PC I have now. I looked at it. I said, I want it. Fuck it. I'm getting it.
but you use it,
Boom.
don't you?
Yeah, but come on, man. I mean, what I paid for it. Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's something that the that I do that I'm trying to work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
you, uh,
What's that?
when we look at this like in the broader scheme of things, um, no, it's pretty much having these realizations now. What are your hopes in building for your kids' futures and making sure that they're set when they hit 18 and on? Like, what things are you already setting in motion? Uh, like, what past it? Like, what's the potential plan for them going into the future? Kind of pretty much make sure that they don't end up in your predicament when you were
Right.
18.
Right.
Well,
Go ahead, miss.
I don't. I don't necessarily want them in my predicament right now because I'm still working on figuring shit out. Like shit looks hunky dory, but I'm working. It is what it is. I got to make it work and get it all right because it's not fucked up. But you know what I mean? Like it's not where I want it. So working that part out. It's almost the same fucking cycle a little bit, but it's not the same shit. Um, and I'm trying to learn for myself so I can teach them properly.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to teach them shit and be like, "Hey, you got to do it this way," and then they be like, "You told me to do it this way. I'm all fucked up." Like, yeah, my bad. I thought that was the way, but I didn't know. So I gotta get me to get them, and then I can't leave them with my like shit that I have, like my schools and all that shit, and like that ain't their fault for me doing what I did. So ground zero, I gotta level out first.
I, my approach to the situation is I'm trying to set up to where she's gonna be nice. Um, right now we have um there's basically two policies: life insurance policy on me and the wife, one policy
Oh
on
yeah,
her, another policy for the house. And if anything happens to me tomorrow, my family is straight for a good 10 years.
you
You know
said
what I mean?
anything about that part. Yeah,
You know
you're
what I'm
right.
saying? They're straight. They're straight. And I know my wife is strong enough to figure it out. They're straight. The house is paid for. I'm not here. She doesn't have a father. That part sucks, but financially, they're straight. Um, she's 4. She has 3 credit cards. By the time she graduates and actually is going to use her credit, she'll have 16 plus years of credit history. She has a savings account. She's the beneficiary on all of my money market accounts. Um, and my mindset on her is to teach her very early the importance of money and the importance of spending, when to spend and what to spend and how to balance it. Because I think one thing I was never taught how to balance the book, because I think that's a basic thing that people should know. Hey, if I'm only getting paid $500 every week, I can't spend $700 this week. Yeah, I may make this in the month, but I can't spend it all here, like that type of deal. So I'm setting her up there, and then just the mindset of, hey, you don't have to leave here when you're 18. I don't expect you to
Yeah.
have it figured out when you're 18. Um, you don't have to leave here when you're 25. But that's my mindset. As long as you're pushing towards something and you're not just laying around leeching, you're welcome to stay here and figure it out. Because if I would have had that opportunity, um, I mean, I partially had it. If I would have took it, I would have been better off. So my mindset is I'm not pushing anything on her that she doesn't want to strive for. And so I'm not pushing college. I'm not pushing tech. I'm more so saying, hey, what is it that you generally love that you want to pursue? Let's try that. Because there's a study shown about how most kids, how basically they hear the word no um, 50% more than yes in their lifetime before they leave home. So I'm trying to break that. I'm trying to break that. I'm trying to encourage her to be and to pursue the things all while in the background teaching her, hey, if you do this right, it doesn't matter how much you make because you're gonna be straight. This is what you gotta do to make sure you're not in the hole. And I just think the biggest thing to teach children, and what wasn't taught to me, is spending habits. That's so that I'm trying to break those curses personally. That's my goals over here. So, you making moves?
I didn't even think about the life insurance shit. Yeah, you were right. That is a thing that I never even thought of until now. Like I've had it, but I'm saying I didn't think about it till I had some shit. But sorry.
That's no for me. I set up the making sure that there are life insurance policies in play for me. So if anything happens to me, they're taken care of. The I have it. Started the process of trying to build the credit on both of them. Um, it's just trying to figure out I, what I want to do, which is what we've been doing these 2 weeks of busting my ass trying to figure out a balance to make sure that I can put as much money as I can aside per check or whatever to make sure that can go into that and still make sure that the house is taken care of. Like I want to still keep that comfortable feeling for them, but also make sure that they're taken care of for the future. Um, but like I said, I've been putting in the time to try to figure out what works best. Moving forward as far as financially, because Mo will tell you I'm very I'd rather be at home than at that damn job. But at the same token, I got shit I got to make sure that happens for their sake. So
Yeah.
You're not alone. I think that's my everybody would rather be home.
Reason I
I,
work, period. Or it's like
yeah, right,
I need health
right.
insurance. Like this shit is like that's a real thing.
Ooh,
Motherfuckers
yeah,
walk
that
in, I don't
is.
have health insurance. They're like, oh well, that arm that's broken is $117,000. How are you going to pay that? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not.
that's crazy. That
That shit
that
is
that is
wild.
crazy. I think another thing too, I'm also learning, and I'm hoping that by the time she reaches my age, I can teach her. As at my age, I'm dabbling more in stocks, bonds, crypto, NFTs. I'm trying to diversify as much as possible, and if if anything I got going right now hit, shit, I'm gonna give UPS the deuces so quick. Because I like Stutter said, I'd rather be home. Like I work these hours, I put the time in, but it's all at a sacrifice. And I think as fathers, we hope at the end of the day our children understand that, hey, dad's not around a lot because I'm trying to make sure your future's straight. Like I'm doing this for you. I know it sucks now because you're at the age where all you want is my time. You just want to play with dad. You want to see dad. But I'm hoping, I pray that she understands that my effort and my absence wasn't, for naught.
And
So
Yeah.
oh, it's an interesting topic because it goes into so many different layers of it. 'Cause now you're talking about the future. We went from our past and how we came up, present, to now the pushing towards the future. Um, so like, what do you think us as this podcast can do to maybe spark the idea of maybe there should be narrative spoken to maybe do better as a people to talk the whole savings and
the
learning how
financial
to,
talk.
yeah, financially, like, because I feel like
Yes,
it's not really talked about, like it's just kind of, it
but
happens and then
there's also a responsibility to be honest.
Yeah.
Honest. Like I just told you now, like we got our shit we're dealing with. That shit ain't the easiest, and we ain't fucking balling. We're trying to get through it. Motherfuckers won't do that.
Yeah.
They'll be struggling and be like, "Oh, look what I got! I got all this, that, and the third." And you're like, "Stop! Why?
Yeah.
Why is that
But but
important?
but you're
That's not
but but
important."
but you're here. Yeah. I've had this conversation with Seth a lot, and I keep saying that phrase because I talk to this nigga a lot. Um, us as black people, we get caught up too much in material things, and symbols and labels and logos, and that shit don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. Um, just recently today, we were out shopping and we were in a nice neighborhood or a nice mall, outdoor mall, very upscale, high end, and here's Mo, basketball shorts, t-shirts, and Crocs, and I look out of place, but I can shop here. Um, and it's like, but I'm here, but I'm only here because I want to do something nice for the wife, and at the same time, I know it's a lot of people. In particular, it was this family, and I noticed they probably went to one or two stores we were in, and they were just looking at things, and they were like astonished by how much stuff costs. And I could clearly say, like, oh man, they're they maybe can't afford this or what, and I kind of it kind of struck me as like, man, like you don't know that this isn't really important. Like this stuff, the material things don't matter in the long run because at the end of the day, no one's gonna remember that shirt you wore on Friday. You know what I mean? No one's gonna remember what shoes you had on.
Yeah,
What matters at the end of your life is your character and the people you touch. That's it. Like what kind of person you was, what kind of father you was. That's the stuff that's going to be talked about. They're not going to talk about, hey man, he always had on the nice J's, or he always had the nice shoe, or he drove the nice whips, whatever. That stuff it may be mentioned briefly, but your character is what matters. And I think if we would just focus on character, especially within our community, and not logo, and not creating the facade or to try to appear to be something else, I think we'd be better off, like in total as a people, like as a community. I just that material thing is like material shit don't matter, man. Like whether you drive a Mercedes or a goddamn Cobalt, they do the same shit. They they take you from one place to another. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. Function. People get excited over bells and whistles and don't understand the basic function is the same.
yeah.
So I mean a lot of rich people drive Corollas. I'm just saying.
yeah,
I was gonna
that's the yeah.
say something irresponsible, but I was like, it do feel different when you sitting there something. And you're like, "Oh, we're doing 90? Oh,
there's
Yeah,
no
I was
there's no
going to
reason.
chime in with the. I mean, though they do the same function, I grasp
Yeah, you grasped
why
it.
these motherfuckers go towards
You
the
grasped it.
higher end because it feels different at that, on that ride, that
hey,
basic functionality, like
hey,
it feels different when it's
But you
hey,
have
you can
to
call
you
me wrong for this. I feel like that's the reason Tiger Woods crashed because he was riding a motherfucking Hyundai and he's used to his motherfucking Benz.
this
uh,
nigga here. I'm just saying, if you weigh the options, it's
Yeah,
more
absolutely.
it's why throw your money at something that is only material when you could put your money towards something that's going to build wealth, build foundation, actually
Yeah.
have a return?
Yeah.
We need to focus on the ROI, the return on investment.
So
We need to focus on that more than the appearance of looking.
Yeah.
So don't fake it till you make it and then show it.
Make it.
You know what I mean?
so we gotta flip it from people rather flex to invest, but invest instead of flex.
Exactly, exactly. Because any person
Or you
that
can
is,
invest to flex. Yeah.
that's true.
Like, yeah.
Yeah,
But
you can invest to flex, but it's
because
Not just to flex, but
m- most people who have their stuff together, they're not impressed by what you have, by what you wear, by what you drive, because they know at any point I can go get it.
I
They may
think
be
that's what
being happy for you and being impressed
yeah.
are two different things. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy. If you love it, I love it. It's great. I'm happy for you. But if don't if don't keep this if you're trying to impress me because you're not gonna
Yeah.
win.
I
That's
think
that
so. I'm not sure if Kanye actually wrote those lyrics, but one of the most memorable Kanye lines is I think it was from is it Mercy Flow, where he was talking about like black people uh get money, spend it or something, and he said he was making a comparison of a white man. And he said I bought mine, his might have been rented. Like, and the thing was
mm,
like, yeah, we move different with money. Like we're out here trying to buy everything and don't and end up broke when the dude, like you said earlier, a lot of rich people drive Corollas. If they want to drive a nice end car, they'll rent it for the moment just to see how it feels to drive it. But they're not spending their money to to have something that eventually would depreciate in value and has no purpose. Like all at the end of the day, it serves the same basic function. But I do think that is an important thing that like Mo touched on is a lot of rich people. It, typically, like we could say white people, when you see them, a lot of times they don't floss. You
You know
won't
what's
know
funny
they're
is you can
rich.
see that
Like,
you can see it sometimes where you're like,
go ahead.
you see that shirt? That's regular shirt.
yeah,
That ain't
Yeah,
got money.
yeah.
yeah.
No, it's like
And then
that.
they
You
look at
you
us. We have to let you know why what we have. Like, as where
you
them, it's like I'm not going to tell you what I have, but they got money. Like it's
you can tell the people who got money, who got good money uh without knowing, like, because they don't floss. They show it in other way. Like Sutter said last week, I show it in other ways, right? So they're not they walk in somewhere and they go, give me this. I'll take two of those. Okay, that one look nice. You know what I mean? And then but they look like some regular guy walks in, regular woman walk in, they get what they want. You know what I'm saying? They're not always loud by their purchases. Like, one thing Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, one thing he always said that struck me, and I said, man, this man's a genius. He said he never bought real diamonds.
Yeah, that
He
makes
always
sense.
buys Zuman Zirconias, whatever. And he says, why would I buy real diamonds? I'm Chad Ochocinco. They're gonna assume that they're real anyway. And I just saved myself millions of dollars. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because they're gonna think they're real anyway. And I mean, the man is 6'5" or 6'4", something like that, and he drives a smart car. He's a multi-millionaire. He's the embodiment of saying what is the reason, because he's even said it. He said, I went through my phase where I had Ferraris, I had Lamborghinis, I had all that. But for what reason? They're sitting in my car. They're sitting in the garage in my house. I can't take them out on the road and push them to the limit, because he said, whether you got a Ferrari or a Corolla or a smart car, hey, the speed limit's still 70. You know what I'm saying? The speed limit's still 70. And I just
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. Like,
I
if
never
you if
understood
you
the sports
really,
cars.
I don't get that either. But if you really think about, like, what things cost and what's the, like, what do you benefit from it, I think it'll take you a long way. Especially, like, I like to equate purchases to hours worked. Like, okay, this costs X amount of dollars. I'm gonna have
Mm,
to work this many hours to cover this. Do I want to give up 5 hours of time for this? Is this worth 5 hours of my time so that I can enjoy it 2 hours on the weekend because I'm working every day? That's
I
another way to look at
think
things.
I think this could go into a whole different, like, different fucking worlds we live in at the same time. Like sometimes people look at money and they're like, it doesn't fucking matter. They look at money and class. Like there's a difference and it's weird. Like I don't even know how we discuss that. Like we should talk about that one day. Like the different class
Like,
systems, how they do it. Like, cause there's motherfuckers who don't have a whole lot of money that look down on people who have a lot more than them.
yeah,
It's wild.
yeah.
Sorry, that was
No,
that
you're
just
good.
struck me. I was like, that's a good idea.
But you're right though. You're not wrong. You're right.
With that
Say, look,
being
yeah, that's funny.
this topic, this very deep topic, I mean, I think
Sorry,
it's
kids,
dope.
we
Dope.
jumped into kid shit.
Yeah.
But I think it needs to be said and spoke about because I think sometimes we forget that we're we have the potential to touch a different pulse. Like we can talk about like all this shit because I think it all works in the spectrum of us talking about mental health and and growing um to be better because I think that's the importance of this podcast. I think the message behind saying the title of the heavyweight podcast is to be able to say that we can weigh in on some heavy shit. I'm a rapper, I got bars, but the point is it's important. Like what we're talking about is important from every aspect of it. It's a heavy weight. It's not just about physical weight, but the weight of things that can weigh our mind. So I think it's dope that we can have this conversation. And yeah, it kind of feels like we isolated Keith. That wasn't the intention.
We got love for
But
you, Geek 40.
We're trying
yeah,
to help your sinuses.
but I think it's dope that we can have that conversation. And I think shit for me, I'm learning as we're going in this whole topic. So
Yeah.
um, it's important.
Maybe we'll do a part 2 of this.
Yeah, because
Keep it
it
Oh
going.
can
yeah, we
keep going.
talking.
It can definitely
Yeah.
keep going. Like,
Yeah.
um, with that being said, this has
Wait
been the
wait a
heavyweight.
minute. Wait a minute.
Uh.
Wait a minute. Mr. Wendell, do we have a nickname? Because Idi Amin ain't it,
Abs-
nigga. That shit was dumb.
no,
It
it
wasn't
wasn't.
it.
No, it
Wasn't it?
wasn't. You ready?
Ready.
Snackajawea, my nigga. Snackajawea. What up?
That only works for me if you mean you snatching wigs. Because that could be a double thing. Like you out here snatching wigs, just taking niggas' heads off, and you snatching wigs, breaking these bitches' back. That's the only way that works for me.
Fuck. It hurts a little bit to say that's not it, but I don't think that's it. But I did. That was very clever. That's probably been my favorite one so far. That was very clever.
Snatching
So you
wigs.
telling me I can't be Snackajawea?
That's it, man. This episode.
All right, this is episode 21 of the Heavyweight Podcast. I am Studden McFly. Thankful to do this podcast with these three guys. State your names.
Snackajawea. Or Kevin Wendell.
I'm more lethal, man.
Keith, aka Geek 40.
Yeah, man. Shout outs to everybody who listens. Shout out to all the new subscribers on YouTube and Instagram. We appreciate all your support.
Definitely.
Yes.
Comment, like, share, comment, anything. Don't forget next weekend next week we are live. We appreciate y'all, man. We love y'all.
Kevin's got
shouts
some
out.
bars next week.
Bars
Oh, we
live.
going live, huh? Shit.
If you want live, we got the bars, man. This is 21 episodes. We in.
This is gonna
We
be
in.
great. Bars. Here's a word: orange.
What rhymes with orange? Lil Wayne.
Orange.
Lil Wayne, what rhymes with orange? Well, nigga.
You know what? I
orange.
was eating
We out.
porridge.
Nick.